The popular Caribbean Maritime Institute is on its way to becoming a university. We have the proud head of the institution with us this week on Issues. Do you like math? We decode the subject later in the show. This is Jamaica Magazine and I am Adrian Atkinson. Stay with us for those features and others.
CFT are what we are dealing with, yo. Respect authority and keep your dreams alive. School has to study, not fi fight. Hey, we need each other. CF school are what we are dealing with. Yay, CFT is a human right. Don't destroy your own destiny.
Building safer schools in safer communities.
Play it safe, grab a book, link a friend, talk about life.
A message brought to you by the Safe Schools Task Force.
CF school are what we are dealing with.
This message was paid for by the European Union.
The country's sole institution specializing in maritime and logistics has been given its rites of passage to becoming a university with the OK from Parliament. Next, Executive Director of the Caribbean Maritime Institute, Dr. Fritz Pinnock, explains the university designation and the continued growth of the school.
Thanks for joining us for Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today our guest is Dr. Fritz Pinnock. He is the Executive Director of the Caribbean Maritime Institute, soon to become the Caribbean Maritime University. This is an institution that has played an important role in the Jamaican economy. In fact, it has the highest placement of graduates of all tertiary institutions in the Caribbean. There's a very heavy demand for placement there. I mean, the waiting list is long, but there are plans for expansion. So Dr. Pinnock will speak to us about the Institute and about the plans for university status. We thank you so much for your company. Dr. Fitz, it's so good to be with you.
Thank you. A pleasure always to be with you, and I was enjoying it.
It's always so contagious. Yes. So congratulations on the passage of legislation to make CMI now into a university. Give us a little bit about the background to this development.
Well, let me say thanks on behalf of the team, because it's really a team effort. It has been a journey, and a vision coming to reality, not for an institution but for a country and a region. Because I do recognize our role regionally, that we are the only International Maritime Organization whitelisted institution recognized by the IMO or certified for training in the whole maritime era. But the traditional maritime space have shifted. Now if you send cargo on a ship, at some point it will pass over road. Some aspects of it may go by air before it ends up. So that's what you call multimodal or intermodal transport. So likewise, that industry, the boundaries have expanded and the walls between, our so-called shades between the air, sea and land have shifted. So that has now integrated into one industry. So likewise, the training that we offer follows that pathway. So it's about that relevant pathway. So that's hence the whole meaning of logistics, that intermodal integrated land space. So our training has moved to that era. So it is more or less following the global shift, looking at a tertiary product that has failed over the years, and coming from the private sector, knowing that it's about output and not how hard you try, but how successful your product is.
And you stay in close touch with industry. You know what the needs are.
Yes, because we have industry advisory boards. And these are people from the industry who comes in and work with us on the different programs. And one of our newest programs is the Custom Processes, Freight Forwarding and Immigration degree. On that program, we have the head of immigration teaching on the course. We have the deputy CEO of customs teaching on the course. We have other members teaching on the course. So the very people who are teaching, they're your employers. I said to the students every day, you're in an interview.
Yes.
So these are the people who are looking, they know who they want. So it forces the students to behave and respond in a certain way. So it's about that close touch with the industry. And this is what probably we have done differently from the other institutions. And in fact, what employers are looking for is not on the curriculum. You're not looking for the brightest student. You want somebody who has a good attitude, who can go to work on time, who's a team player, who can use technology, who have skills and competence. For example, all our engineers, they have to learn to weld. Several of them have welding certificates.
Yes.
Then you have to go into the machine shop. You have to be able to manipulate metals and to be able to do certain
Have you get
things.
your hands dirty?
Your hands dirty, as well as the theoretical aspects. So you can, coming out with competence, you have to be able to do something and let your degree follow you. But you must be able to do something. Nobody wants to employ somebody who can tell you what they think should be done, but you must be able to do something. And it's about competence. And we want to certify that competence also. And this is, and we're not just certify, but we want to certify it at an international level. So it gives you mobility to work anywhere in the world.
So the university status will do that. When you come back, we talk about the high demand for your graduates, not just locally, but internationally.
Yes.
And how much of an emphasis you place on values and attitudes. We're talking to the executive director of the Caribbean Maritime Institute, soon to become the Caribbean Maritime University, Dr. Fitz Pinnock. We take a break, but we'll be right back.
No, son. A verb is an action word.
Parents need to become more involved in their children's education.
Parents are the first and in many cases the most important teachers.
Read with your children. Review their schoolwork. Visit their school.
Tapping and rapping and slapping, I said.
Nice. High five.
Woo! A good education will never decay.
Thanks for staying with us. We are speaking to the Executive Director of the Caribbean Maritime Institute, Dr. Fitz Pinnock. Tell us about the demand for your graduates. I mean, there are people watching us who want to go in areas where they know they won't have to stay at home for a very long time before they get a job.
Well, let me answer you with a little illustration. I remember years ago, I was actually looking for, when I was in the private sector, I was group managing director of the shipping company.
Yes.
And we wanted a senior customer service supervisor. We put out the ad, and I had over 100 applications. When I was shortlisting, I noticed that there was this person who worked at 2 funeral homes before, applied. So that little childish, troublesome side of me said, put this one in there to have a little amusement. Because 15 years in funeral homes, at executive level, she was now applying for a job in a shipping company.
Yes.
So I didn't expect much. But you know what? To my surprise, this lady came out on top of the interview. And I said to her in the interview, which was a learning moment for me, I said, you explain to me how working in 2 funeral homes equip you to work into a shipping company. She turned to me and she said, whether you're serving the living or the dead, they need good customer service. So I learned something very instructive. Because for me, skill sets are transferable. And this is what we need to realize. We need to teach our people. Because when you train somebody for a job, when that job gets redundant, what happens to you? You die.
The person must be marketable.
That's correct. In fact, in that same company, my office manager came in as the person who used to serve coffee.
Your office manager?
Yes, when I was leaving, because she had such a good attitude. She would come in the morning very early. She wants to learn. She come and help with the filing. She do things. Clean the office, then she changes off and go and help out.
Yes.
And one day I said to her, you need to go back to school. I sent her on a course, and that was the start of it. When I was leaving, she had a master's degree, and she became the office manager.
Yes.
Because of her winning personality, she could work with people. She was very efficient. She was,
And you put such a strong emphasis on that at CMI. Tell us about the kinds of things that you do, the things that you instill in students at CMI, the disciplines.
Well, we're non-negotiable when it comes to discipline. In fact, I can tell you
They can't dress anyone, behave anyone.
No. Maybe my background too. You know, one day I went to my former principal. I went to a country school, Monroe, and I came upon the Richard Roper.
Oh, yes.
And that man was a keen disciplinarian, and he was head of the cadets, and I can tell you 90% of the school were cadets. So he ran that institution, he led, you know, by example. And I said to him one day, you know, you're responsible for me now going into academia through the back door of the stage of my life. But, you know, what I learned is the qualities that are needed by industry are not on the curriculum. So, for example, people who can turn up on time. You must be able to be a part of, carry your personal brand must be aligned with the company's brand. You must be disciplined, you must be flexible, you have to be able to work in teams.
True.
You must have some life skills. Social, you know, I mean, what you call emotional intelligence. These are things that are not on the curriculum, but these are the things that people are looking for. So CMI is about a holistic development. When you come through that gate, the full-time students, make no apology. No earrings are allowed in there.
No earrings, men can't wear earrings.
No earrings. You have to
what
have
about
a
the
waist.
pants? The pants can't go down.
Pants have to be on your waist, man. If you go down and you have 3 strikes at the dress code and you're out of the school.
Out of school?
Yes. One day I saw this guy. He came in and the second strike was about by 10 a.m. the first day. And I said, why just do the third and leave? The next day was in a jacket and tie. And after that, I can tell you, one of my most disciplined students. And it's not where you're from, and I disbelieve this, but you must have a standard. Stick to it and believe in it.
And you have taken inner city fellows and transformed them.
I've seen it so often. In fact, there's this young man, he's from a hardcore inner city community. First day he came there, I heard he got in a fight the night before, but we don't allow fights at CMI. I don't even have those to deal with. So you know, those are not.
Can't carry that.
Don't even think about that in there. So when he came in, you know, he had a lot of, you know, attitude and thing. And I said, call him and I said, look around at other students, look at what is happening. You better line up with that.
Yes.
That's what you're going to do. Fast forward, we were renting some space from Michael a few years ago, and I gave him a lift from downtown to Michael. While I was going there, I said, how are things at Michael? He said, very good. The only thing I cannot take is the indiscipline of the students. So I said, well, this is transformation in the making, right? Yeah. Not to say anything, but, you know.
He had internalized the discipline to such an extent.
And that's one of your greatest rewards and success, when you can see the transformation. It's about that holistic development.
And a big part of their grades, you were saying to me off air, has to do with these life skills.
Yes.
These emotional intelligence issues.
In fact, I can tell you, the Marine and Professional Program, 30% of the grades come from your attitude, your behavior, and all of that.
30%?
If you get 100%, that is not good enough. For example, the students, all of those are given 800 points to start. And every morning they're on parade. And the gate closed at 5 to 8. We are playing the national anthem. No movement in the campus. Yeah, the national anthem, show respect to the national flag. Yes. I'm sorry, JUTC bus is there. You just have to wait until the national flag is raised and the anthem is finished before you can enter. That is one. Well, on parade, there, your fingernails are inspected. They are dirty, you have dirt underneath, you lose some points for it. Your insignia is lean, you lose points. We're doing construction, yes. Your shoes is dirty, you lose points. Keep a rag in your bag, and you clean your shoes every 5 minutes. You know, and these are the things that are important.
That's a different country, or your CMI, a different country.
And we make no apology for it. It's what the country needs.
And these rules inure to the betterment of the students. They become better workers.
Yes.
Better placement in industry.
Better workers, better placement. And I share a story with you. I mean, years ago we had, there was this news article that this young man, his family was shot and everything, had 10 C-sex subject cape. And long and short of it, he came to CMI by the help of many people. It was a very touching story in the papers, and I had the visit of a senior ambassador from one of these major countries, and while this student was giving him a tour, while I was there, I asked the student to lead the tour, and he commended the student, how disciplined, how well-mannered, how well put together. And when he was leaving, he said to me, by the way, what happened to that student that, you know, he saw in the papers? I said, that was the student who just gave it a tour. And, you know, after that, he was totally speechless. So these are the transformations. Yes. Jamaican young people have a lot in them, but we have to believe in them. Absolutely. We have to lead them by example. And I must tell you, Ian, I have a great team. Good. And it's all due to them. I'm only the cheerleader.
Well, it's good to have a cheerleader like you there. And if you want to get into an area where there is easy employability after you have graduated, check out what will soon become the Caribbean Maritime University. We thank you for your company today on Issues and Answers. Next week I'll be back. Until then, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity, free a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, pathway to prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Some marine, you know. Yeah?
Yeah, man, I have the package 60,000.
60,000?
Yeah.
How much I want?
Yeah, man, 2 bays I want, man.
Yeah, man, no one else.
$5
Yeah, man. Same. Alright,
what one, cat?
You don't know, I sit downtown the other day there. Oh. All the brethren, them man, we buy and sell marina. One of them I sell a 6-pack for $1,000 and the next one I sell one for $200.
So where buy?
Buy 5 of them for $1,000. Think them can't rob me.
So Uncle Fancy, is the same $1,000 you would spend to get the 6? Seriously?
Tell them again now, my math brains.
Math count.
Math count.
Sponsored by the Ministry of Education.
All of this week, starting today, there are numerous activities across the country for math lovers. One of the big-ticket events will be the National Math Expo at the University of the West Indies, Mona, on Thursday. Watch this.
Many can recall reciting those lines in their first mathematics class, beaming with confidence as the timetable reels off the lips. But as the days multiply and square off into years, math is evolving into a feared subject, with many succumbing to that fear and failing exams. But fear not, help is on the way. Unfortunately for some people, just the thought of numbers freaks them out. Addition, multiplication and division are frustrating computations. But the reality is, the ability to apply mathematical concepts to real-life circumstances is necessary for one's development. Math is about problem solving and analytical thinking, skills required to be a productive member of society. A significant number of students at both the primary and secondary levels is not performing up to standard, a reality that's been captured in benchmark national exams.
Generally speaking, across the system, from the very earliest stages, we're beginning to see students struggling with the subject.
The students themselves do know the importance of math and want to excel in the subject. So when a group of them were offered an opportunity to change the statistics, they accepted. These students packed an auditorium at the University of the West Indies, Mona, during summer 2012 for a 3-2-1 math camp.
X union Y union Z equals, and then you write down all of those.
I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do a car business, like sell cars and rent cars. Math is important because with selling and renting cars, you'd have to need calculation.
People keep on telling me, but then I'm saying I really don't like maths, so and then because I really want to do it, I'm after getting involved in maths.
The Ministry of Education is adamant students must do well at math. The development of the country rests on it. But realizing this goal means eliminating the fear harbored by some students.
Once they're not getting things right, they start getting things wrong. The fear comes in and that just perpetuates the problem.
The culture of fear for math can also be perpetuated by parents.
The cultural acceptance that if you're not good at maths, that's all right. You know, I'm not good at it, so it's okay. We've had parents communicate that to teachers. Now, you know, miss, I wasn't good at the subject, so if he or she isn't so good at it, it's all right. Don't be so rough on him or her.
That's exactly what educators want to change, because they know that if students don't grasp certain math concepts at an early stage, it can be difficult for their brains to appreciate the subject later.
One of the things I used to do is drills, timetable drills, because what will happen sometimes, they get used to the calculator, they don't understand the patterns and get the logic, so that later on they get something, put the information in the calculator, it gives them a wrong answer because they've put in something wrong and they don't realize it.
This brings into the equation the competence of teachers. Teachers must be qualified to identify the challenges faced by students and groom their minds to understand the concepts. And the educators need to enter the classroom freed of their own fears.
There was a survey done in 2009, I believe, by the ministry, and I think 20% of the primary teachers at the time spoke to being afraid of the subject and spoke to wanting not to have to teach the subject. We have teachers who come into the classroom, they pass on their gaps and fears to our children who become our future teachers.
Government is putting in the work to drive up the math numbers. Through the National Mathematics Scheme, 2 significant activities are taking place: an update of the numeracy policy drafted in 2003 and the development of a National Mathematics Strategic Plan.
The document is speaking to issues such as qualifications to teach the subject at various levels of the education system, and it also gives very clear guidelines and standards for what teacher education programs should look like.
It's going to take time, but with a clearer plan and everyone on board, the government is determined to solve the problem of mathematical failings, and we are all a part of the equation. So if you excelled in the subject, help someone who is struggling, whether it's a relative, a neighbor, or a friend. 1 + 1, helping each other, we can achieve 100.
Children, a brighter tomorrow. Let's renew our pledge to God as we work to heal our land and fellow man.
Let's join hands across Jamaica
for righteousness.
Let's join hands.
Let's join hands across Jamaica
for righteousness.
International Women's Day will be observed on Wednesday under the theme Unite to End Gender-Based Violence. To commemorate the day, a series of activities will be hosted by the Gender Affairs Division in the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport in partnership with the AIDS Healthcare Foundation and other key stakeholders. Among the activities for International Women's Day is the annual Madame Rose Leon Memorial Lecture, which will take place tomorrow at the PCJ Auditorium. It starts at 6 p.m. On Wednesday, D-Day, are a slew of events. A few are the empowerment session at the Emancipation Park, which begins at 1 p.m. There'll be booths and counseling sessions for women and girls. There's also the Be Bold for Change March. This begins at 4 p.m. It will start at Emancipation Park, continue along Knutswood Boulevard to Trafalgar Road and end at the park. On-site registration for the march begins at 2 p.m. at the park. Then on Sunday, an International Women's Day National Church service will be held at the Faith Cathedral Deliverance Center commencing at 8 a.m. Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Gender Minister Olivia Grange are scheduled to speak. Get involved and attend at least one of the commemorative events as we seek to achieve gender equality in our homes, workplace and social circles. Let's do this as we seek to achieve Jamaica being the place of choice to live, work, raise families and do business. This is where we close the pages for today's show. Before we go, we leave this motivational thought with you. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. Remember, the information continues to flow on our social pages. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You may also download our app from the Google Play Store, or for more features on education, click on our YouTube channel or visit our website, jis.gov.jm. I am Adrian Atkinson. Happy Sunday.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.